So thanks for being here. Today's class is going to demonstrate some very modifications for practice. We're going to do mostly chair poses, but we will get down to the floor. So I am navigating through something going on with my knee, my meniscus. So I'm doing what I can do. So seated in a chair, I've got blocks under my feet, peeling away the flesh, rolling the pelvic bowl forward and the spine nice and tall. If you are seated on the floor, you might choose to use support under the low back, maybe a blanket or a block. If you're on a block, let your pelvis fall off of the block so that it's just helping to lift the spine, not that you're seated on the block. If you need height, because your knees need some support, then you can build up that block and sit on top of it or sit on a bolster. So lots of options in yoga. It's about listening to your body and responding from a place of love and consciousness. So as you find your position, take your palms and place them downward on the top of your knees. Let your fingers drape over the edge. Roll your shoulders back and down. Kiss those shoulder blades together. Help to open up across the chest. Feel the shoulder blades drawn towards each other, not too harshly. And then feel the lift of the top of your head and the weight of the bottom of your feet and the base of your spine. Feel the posture of your ears over your shoulders over your hips. Let your eyes fall into a hazy stare or closed. If when your eyes are closed, you feel like you fall into disassociation, open those eyes and find a drishti. Centering practice will awaken our three centers of intelligence. So it's very active for the mind. You're going to be thinking about what you're doing and holding your attention on your breath, the inhale and the exhale. Breathing in through the nostrils and out through the mouth at the beginning and then through the nostrils as you find your rhythm. So go ahead and notice your breath. Don't try to change anything. Don't judge it. Just notice where you normally breathe, how you normally breathe. Add the inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. With each additional inhale, see if you can draw it a little bit deeper, expanding the belly and then contracting the belly. Then make the exhale about a third longer than your inhale. Feel like you are blowing out all the stale air with the contraction of the belly. And then slowly take in fresh air. Imagining it filling the lungs, expanding the belly. And then blow out all the air once again and do it again. Broaden your attention from your breath to all the parts and pieces in your body. So continuing to notice the breath and keep it long and slow. Feel your feet, how they meet with the floor if you're seated, or maybe on your blocks, or maybe if you're in an easy seated pose, just noticing the bottoms of your feet, the edges of your feet. And with your exhale, see if you can relax any tension between your toes, at the arches of your feet, the ball, the heel. And then feel that relaxation with each exhale coming up your legs, around your knees, up the top of your legs and into your pelvis. See if you can feel a little heavier with your next exhale at the pelvis. More grounded, more centered, more present. Allow your hands to be heavier as you soften your fingers. And then come up your arms. Let your elbows rest heavier. Soften your belly and bring attention to that pelvis. Make sure it's slightly rolled forward so there's no round in your back. Your spine is sitting up nice and tall, and your shoulders can roll back and down. You can feel that opening, soft opening across your heart. You can heighten the awareness of the breath at the chest and at the belly. If it feels right, you can stop those open mouth exhales or continue them, whatever is right for you. And bring your attention to soften across your shoulders, across the upper back. Feeling those shoulder blades slightly kiss towards each other. The heart open. Sensing that essence that is within you. With my injury, I am frequently trying to bring that essence upward, that essence of unconditional love to face my angry ego. To say, it's all right, it's okay. What can we do? Feel the length of your neck. Move your neck if you need to, if you want to. Just notice any areas of tension, tightness, and then return to stillness, feeling that stack of your ears over your shoulders over your hips. Maybe the head feels a little bit lighter as it reaches towards the ceiling. And you intentionally soften between your brow, behind your eyes, your cheeks, your jaw. Purposefully, consciously, bring together the left and the right hemisphere of your mind, your logic, and then your intuition, the ego, and the higher self. This is done with intention. And when you feel it, you notice a space in your mind, a space for you to step into your observer fully, to be the director of your thoughts. As they come in, thank them, let them go. Not becoming the thought, but noticing what they are. From here, you can feel that heart space. You can notice your emotions without attempting to suppress them or become them. You can heed their message. And from this place, you can be aware of all your parts and all your pieces connected to your innate body wisdom, that instinctual intelligence. If you're seated, walk your feet wide, maybe adjust your blocks so that your knees are wide. You can keep your eyes closed or you can open them in a hazy stare and start to make trunk circles. Hinging at your hips with a flat back, your chin is out of your chest. And you're feeling the weight shift from cheek to cheek. As you hinge forward, see if you can imagine a string pulling the top of your head long. And if you're seated on the floor, you can engage your core and allow yourself to hinge back using that core strength, keeping that nice long spine, just bringing movement into the waist. And then when you're ready, go the opposite way. Exhale as you go forward. Inhale as you come up. Go as slow or as fast as your body asks for. When you feel like you've rotated an even amount of time, come back to seated and find some cow and cats, seated cow and cats, ungulating the spine. I'm going to move out a little bit on my chair so that I have room to do my cow and my cats. So we're ungulating, start out arching the back, pull the belly button in, chin comes to chest, shoulders roll forward. And then on the inhale, lift the chest, kiss the shoulder blades together, open the throat, but don't drop the head back too far. Take an inhale and then exhale. Open mouth exhale might feel really good. So we're moving the spine, we're moving the shoulders, we're stretching across the chest. Moving a lot of air in and out of our lungs. And then come to still. Move your blocks back closer together, feet closer together. Sit up nice and tall. Sweep your arms up towards the ceiling. Wiggle 10 fingers. And then bring a wiggle, a twist into the wrist with your fingers, one direction, and then the other. And bring all of that to still. Come into a cactus, 90-degree angle under the armpits. And then bring those forearms together. Touch the forearms, the heels of the hands, the fingertips. Press your elbows out. Pull your belly button in and bring the top of your head tall. And then inhale out and exhale back together. And inhale out and exhale back together. 3 more. Shoot those fingertips up towards the ceiling. Bring your forearms around the back of your ears. Drop your shoulders away from your ears and interlace your palms and press the palms towards the ceiling. Pull your belly button in. Feel the slight arch in your back. Make circles on the ceiling with the palms of your hands. One direction. And then the other. Come to still, drop those hands down. If you're seated on the floor, switch what leg is in front. Roll the pelvic bowl forward, sweep the arms up. We're going to twist to the right, left hand to the right knee, right hand behind. Grow tall through the crown, look over that right shoulder. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Kiss your shoulder blades together. Feel that stretch across your chest. On your next inhale, come up. On your exhale, try the other side. Lift the heart, kiss the shoulder blades, take the gaze behind you. We're going to flow 6 times with our breath. Inhale up. Exhale, twist. Inhale up. Twist. Inhale up. Exhale out. Inhale up. Exhale out. 3 more. This is the last one on the right side. Hold it. Take your eyeballs a little bit further than your gaze can go. Give them a stretch. Breathe and breathe. Drop your shoulders out of your ears. Lift your heart. Make your way back to center and then hold on the other side. Fine tune things. Drop the shoulders out of the ears. Grow tall through the crown. Look over that left shoulder. Take your eyeballs a little bit further and your eyes can go. Come on out. Take your left ankle across your right knee. So for those that are seated on the floor, extend the right leg so it's nice and long. Press out through the heel, draw your toes towards you. Everybody roll their pelvic bowl forward. If you're seated on the floor, you can place a block under this left knee. If that supports you, bring the floor to you. You can also, if you have the flexibility, take that left hand and draw down that left knee. Sit up nice and tall. If you're seated on the floor, you can hinge at the hip. If you're seated in the chair, you can hinge at the hip to accentuate that stretch in the hip. And breathe, and breathe, and breathe. If you're seated on the floor, you can fold all the way down if that is in your practice, keeping your chin out of your chest. If you're seated in the chair, you can lay your belly across your chin and breathe. If you're seated on the floor with a straight right leg, press out through the heel, pull your toes towards you, spread them wide. You should feel that stretch in the back of the calf, another great stretch when you're seated on the floor. And breathe and breathe. Keep that chin out of the chest. Keep growing long from tailbone to crown. Wherever you landed, come on out and bring that left heel right outside your booty. Peel away the flesh, wrap that left elbow around, sit up nice and tall. And breathe, wind removing pose. Release that left elbow, take that right elbow around. You start to twist, lift that left arm up and bring it behind you. If you're seated on the floor, kickstand it. This is easy side. You can peel away the flesh to deepen into the pose. You can take your elbow on the outside of your knee. If I was seated on the floor, it would be easier to come into a deeper expression. So Lord of the Fishes modification here. Breathe and breathe. Make your way out. We'll come into full Lord of the Fishes. Take that left foot to the outside of the right thigh. Peel the flesh away. Left elbow, right elbow comes around. Sweep that left arm up and around. Deepen the stretch. Feel that deepening in the glute, in the hip. Drop your shoulders out of your ears. Add the elbow to the outside of the thigh if that's in your practice. Breathe and breathe and breathe. Make your way out. Other side. Right ankle on left knee. Build it up, coax it down. Find your practice. Think about rolling that pelvic bowl forward. You know you can do the hinge forward. You can press out through the heel, draw the toes towards you. Find your version of the pose. So I am a lot more modified on this side, doing what I can do, listening to my body. Kiss the shoulder blades together, grow tall through the crown. Find your pose. Breathe in awareness, exhale any resistance. Soften your face. Feel across your upper back, pull your belly button in. Hinge forward if that is available to you. We're going to come into that wind removing pose, bringing that heel right behind. I'm not going to be able to do it on this side. That heel, I think I can do it if I'm sitting on the floor. That's a better modification for me. So for bending my knee, the heel's not going to make it to my buttocks. If yours can, do that. Wrap that right elbow around. Sit up nice and tall. I'm sorry, left elbow around. Sit up nice and tall. Sweep that right arm around. Come into the Lord of the Fishes. Elbow on the outside of the knee, 5 fingers spread wide. So this is the easy one. If you like this, you can do it twice. The harder one is too much for you. Think about dropping the shoulders out of the ears, lengthening the neck, and breathe and breathe. Make your way out and add on if that's right for you. Foot comes to the outside, peel away the flesh, sit up nice and tall, wrap the elbow around, find the twist, float the arm back and around. Add the elbow. Look over that right shoulder. So this is great stretch for the waist, for the spine, from tailbone to crown. We're wringing out all that doesn't serve us. And breathe, and breathe, and breathe. Make your way out. I'm going to come back to my chair. Let's do those stretches that Lynn talked about. So taking the elbows out, fingertips have a little bit of space in between them, 90-degree angle under the armpits. Roll the pelvic bowl forward. Grow through the crown of the head. Make adjustments if you need to, maybe peeling away the flesh, dropping the shoulders away from the ears, growing the crown tall. And then we pull them out, kiss the shoulder blades together, keep the elbows high. Like I just so want to drop my elbows. And then bring them together. And then on this next one, we're going to open up wide and come back to center. And then inhale, exhale, close. Inhale, open wide. Exhale, close. Inhale, kiss the shoulder blades. Exhale, close. Inhale, open the arms. Exhale, close. Let's do 3 more. Last one. I think that I added a little extra one in there. Hands to prayer, thumbs to heart. Roll the shoulders down and back. And let's bring those hands down into airplane arms behind us. So if you're seated in the chair, move out a little bit. See if you can bring them behind you. If you have the flexibility, interlace the fingertips, drop the knuckles, lift the hands, kiss those shoulder blades together. Grow long and tall through the crown. Release the shoulders away from the ears. Float your heart up. Breathe and breathe. If you like more and you want a little more of a challenge, hinge forward. Bring those hands up over your head. Keep your chin out of your chest. Stretch. Breathe and breathe. Make your way out when you feel ready. Release your hands, shake them out. Roll your shoulders, move your neck. We're going to bring our hands to our clavicle. So fingertips touch the clavicle. They overlap. We pull down. We lift up through the crown and then gently start to lift our chin to stretch the front muscles, the scalenes in our neck. Think about what you're doing in the back and release your shoulders down and back. Feel your pelvic bowl rolled forward. Enjoy this stretch. Release your chin. Bring your hands back into that airplane mode. Lift the heart and then slowly drop your chin. Feel the slight arch in your back, the lift of your heart, and then slowly sweep your arms up, interlace them behind your head, drop your elbows down, keep your heart lifted, let your chin fall, don't pull on your head, but let the weight of your hands stretch the back of your neck. And breathe. Breathe. And breathe. Relax your shoulders. Engage your core. Make your way out and bring those hands right back to the clavicle points. Pull down. Turn your gaze over your right shoulder and lift your chin. Drop your shoulders down and back, kissing the shoulder blades towards one another, and find your stretch. And breathe. And breathe. And breathe. Gently release, roll out. Take the gaze in the opposite direction over the left shoulder. Pull down with your hands. Lift up with your heart. Lift up your chin. Breathe. 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 Make your way out. Back to center. Drop your hands. Roll your shoulders back and down. Lift your crown. Take your right ear to your right shoulder. Right hand to the left side of your head. Kiss your shoulder blades together. Float your heart and relax that ear towards the shoulder, but drop the shoulder down and away. Slowly take your gaze down to the floor. Replace your hand. Deepen that stretch. Make your way out and into the other side. Left ear to left shoulder, right hand to left side of the head. Kiss the shoulder blades together. Lift the heart. Engage your core. And then find the twist. Look down towards that left hip. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. Feel that stretch. Make your way out. Extend your arms long. Take your right hand as you press out with your left palm and coax your fingers towards your body. So pressing out with the heel of the hand with a straight arm. Stretch out that wrist. And then let's do the other direction. Point the fingers towards the floor and use the palm of your hand to stretch the back of your wrist. Breathe. Breathe. Other side. Press out through the heel, straight arm. This is one you can do multiple times a day if you have wrist soreness. Just bringing a little mobility into that wrist. And breathe. And breathe. Relax your shoulders. Taulen your spine. So we're going to do some forward folds next for Janie's hamstrings. And if you're seated, you're just going to stay seated, hinge at the hip, fold forward. It's not getting into the hamstrings as much. You want your belly to touch your thighs, but it's something you can do if you can't get to the floor. If you can get to the floor, sit on the floor, extend the legs long. So my right leg is not gonna bend, not gonna straighten all the way. I'm gonna take a block and support under that knee so it's not feeling stressed. Actually, I'm gonna find a better prop, which is a bender ball. Gives it a little bit more flexibility. Kickstand your hands behind, press out through the heels, spread the toes wide. Maybe you just stay right here, feeling the stretch in the attempt to straighten the legs any amount. To get into the hamstrings, we want to poke that hip crease, fold forward. So here, blocks are really handy to place on either side. Lay the forearms on the blocks. Draw the shoulders away from the ears and think about your low back. Is it rounded? You want to thread your heart forward, lift through your heart and your crown. Find your stretch. So you should feel it in the back of your legs. If you have lots of flexibility, you can reach forward, lay your chest over your thigh, feel that connection. Reach out through the crown, keep your chin out of your chest, and breathe. And breathe. And breathe. Come on up. If you're seated, separate your knees nice and wide like we did before. If you're on the floor, separate your legs into a big wide V. Again, peel away the flesh. Hinge at the hips. Press out through the heels if you're on the floor. Feet are flat if you're in the chair. Hinge forward any amount. So again, adding the blocks. So if you're on the chair, your knees are wide and you're folding forward. You're keeping your chin out of your chest. You're not rounding down. You're staying long. You're using your abs. You're stretching. If you're seated on the floor, you can add these blocks, following them down as much as is possible. And if you have the flexibility, you might be reaching towards your toes. Keep your chin out of your chest and breathe and breathe and breathe. Make your way up. Bring those legs out in front of you. If you're seated in the chair, just bring your knees together. Just give them a little shake. And then come to still. And we're going to do some Qigong. So you can do this seated in a chair or seated on the floor. Roll the pelvic bowl forward. Take your hands and just give pats down your legs. So as far as you can in a seated position, up and down. Stimulating the energy, the Qi in the body. Keeping the chin out of the chest, the spine long. Maybe you can make it down to your toes. And once you come up, separate your legs just a little and come down the inside as far as you can. And back up and down and up. And then move around to the outside and go down and up and down. Stay long through the crown and up. And then take your hands into little fists and bring them around the back, doing kidney points. I'm going to come back to my chair. If you're seated on the floor, it feels kind of better often to bring those legs into a cross leg position rather than having to stay seated up tall. We're just taking those fists around the glutes, up the back, nice little love taps. To stretch your shoulders, see if you can come up a little higher, keeping the heart lifted as you do your little pounds. And then bring the hands back around to the front, widen the fingers, and do some pats all around your belly. So this is something I've been working on. I find myself getting critical as I come to my belly, and to consciously say something nice here. This is such an important part of our body. It has our stomach, our pancreas, our liver, gallbladder, our intestines, small and large. For women, our ovaries, our uterus, our bladder. So much important stuff happening here, and so much stuff happening so right. And what if we just felt so much love and appreciation here? This is also our second chakra, our third chakra, the place of choice, the place of relationship, place of pleasure, place of support. So giving a love taps, then bring it up across your chest. So important to do chest exams, to be comfortable with touching ourselves here. And then bring your fingertips to your thymus point. Just give some thumbs there. Increasing the immune system, waking us up. And then bring that thumping up the throat, back of the occiput. Soften little taps across our head. Awakening that higher consciousness. And then across our brow, the eyebrows, the eyes, the nose, the mouth, the jawline. And then back along the occiput, start to make your fingers into little massagers and rub. And then bring your full hands into massaging your neck. And opposite hand to opposite shoulder. And then just squeeze the shoulders down the arms. And then make interlace fingers. Sit up nice and tall. If you're on the floor, switch your front foot. Everybody press those interlace fingers out in front of them. Feel the stretch across your upper back. And then pull your belly button in, bring those hands up overhead, upper arms behind the ears. Press up, engage your core, crescent over to the side. Take your gaze up over that left shoulder. Press out with your fingers, pull in with your belly button. Come back to center. Find the other side, look up. Press that hip down, press out through the fingers. Breathe and breathe. Come back to center, airplane arms behind you. Adjust how you're seated to make space behind. If you can, interlace the fingers, drop the knuckles, lift the heart, lift the gaze. Feel that space open across your chest, in your shoulders. If you like, hinge forward, bring those hands up overhead. Belly comes towards the thighs, chin's out of the chest. Breathe and breathe and breathe. Make your way out. If you're seated on the floor, you can lay on your back. We're going to do an eagle's pose. If you're seated in the chair, just take your left knee over your right. You can tuck the top of your foot behind your ankle. If you're laying on the mat, you're laying on your back. You tilt your pelvis, you engage your core, you parallel your shins, then bring that left knee over the right, tuck the toes behind. Roll the shoulders back and down, grow through the spine, and then reach the arms up or out. Take the left elbow over the top of the right. Bring the hands together, clasp as you can, and then bring those elbows in front of your face. Press out with your elbows. Pull your belly button into the spine. If you're laying on the mat, you have a flat back. Squeeze your knees together as that toe tucks behind the ankle. If you want more and you're laying on the mat, float your shoulders up and really activate that core. If you're seated in the chair like I am, you can hinge forward, bring your elbows to your knees. Keep lengthening through the crown of your head. Keep lifting those elbows in front of your face, fingertips towards the top of your head. And breathe, and breathe, and breathe. When you're ready, find your way out and into the other side. Tucking the toes behind the ankle, crossing the knee. Roll the pelvic bowl forward, grow the spine tall. Plant that belly button into your mat if you're on your back. Reach your arms out. Right arm underneath. Find your eagle arms. Press out, lift up. Breathe and breathe. Float the shoulders up if you want that add-on on your back. Hinge forward, elbow to knee with a long spine if you're seated. Press out, lift up, hinge. Breathe and breathe and breathe. Make your way out. Come back to seated, either on the floor or on the chair. Take your right hand behind, bring it over. I'm going to try to demonstrate this. To the left hip. Take your left hand and grab your wrist. Kiss your shoulder blades together. And give a little tug on your arm. Look over that left shoulder and drop the shoulders out of the ears. Kiss your shoulder blades together. And breathe. Feel that opening in the front of the right shoulder. You have to stay tall, chin out of the chest, and then looking over that left shoulder. Breathe and breathe Drop the shoulders. Mine just want to creep right up out of the ears. Make your way out and into the other side. So left hand sweeps around, rests at the hip. Right hand grabs the wrist, coaxes it towards the right. Sit up nice and tall. Drop the shoulders out of the ears. Look over to the right. And breathe. Kiss the shoulder blades. And breathe. And breathe. Notice if your shoulders have reached up and see if you can roll them down. Float the heart up, not the shoulders. Breathe. Breathe. Make your way out. If you're on the floor, you can come into box pose. If you're in your chair, seated cow and cat. So find your seated pose. So I'm going to use the blocks under my feet. Spread my knees a little bit wide. If you're on your hands and knees, you're creating that nice square box. And then undulating, cow and cat. And cow, cat, and this is cow. This is cat. And then come to still. Find your seated pose. Once again, if you're on your hands and knees, come back to seated. Sweep your arms out. Take your right hand to the base of the mat or to the seat of the chair. Lift that left arm up and over. Look up over that armpit. Kiss your shoulder blades together. And then if you like, bend your elbow, hand behind the head, shine your heart. Heavy that left hip down, grow through your crown. Breathe and breathe. Make your way out, switch that front leg. If you're seated on the floor, grow tall through your spine. Left hand to the mat or to the chair. Right hand sweeps up, crescents over. Kiss your shoulder blades together. Lift your heart. Elbow bends as an add-on. Shoulders splays back. Breathe and breathe and breathe. Make your way out. I think of all these poses that are just chair. We have some people on the floor, some people in the chair. So I think we will wind it down there. If you are able to get down on your back, I'm going to do that. You can do that. Otherwise, just seated in the chair for some final poses here. Have a block handy, maybe grab a drink here. We haven't taken any drinks today. If you're coming down to the mat, you might just add in a little roll down to work the core. If you're seated in the chair, just sit up nice and tall, pull that belly button in. If If you're rolling down when you get there, reach your hands up overhead. If you're seated in the chair, do the same. Take a nice stretch with those interlaced fingers. And then find your way into a comfortable Savasana. So seated Savasana, make sure you've got those blocks under your feet or your feet are supported. Separate your knees in a way that feels comfortable for you. Maybe moving back on your chair, just have your back supported. You're laying down, think about walking your shoulders down to lengthen your neck. Find that flat spot on the back of your head. Savasana, we want our heart open. So we want to kiss those shoulder blades together. If you're laying down, extend your arms out with palms up. If you're seated in the chair, rest the back of your hands, palms up on your thighs. Savasana is a time of surrendering, something that I am seriously needing to practice. Surrendering into the moment. And as we do, what comes up is there is always goodness. There is always release by stepping into the moment instead of trying to get out of the moment or avoiding it. So as we sit with our thoughts, as we sit with our feelings without becoming them, we can learn something about ourselves. As we sit with our body and maybe this discomfort that we're in, we are invited to change something, which I'm just going to change my pillow just a little bit, to use that innate wisdom to respond to ourselves, to respond to others, to respond to the world in a way that makes a difference for good. So we know what we focus on expands, what we resist persists. And it's such a great reminder. And I just keep noticing how my ego wants to go into resistance, but that just keeps me suffering. So as I release resistance, as I practice this surrendering pose, I am able to have more grace, to get out of my pity party, to find more answers, to be open to the things I can do. So decide on what you want to do with your eyes, your arms, your legs. Find your pose and surrender into it. Again, anchoring into your breath, your inhale and your exhale. Breathe and breathe. Maybe letting the lips close from open mouth exhales. Feeling your whole body soften. So we're being very mindful. This is not disassociating. This is not falling asleep or checking out. It is a practice in awakening the higher mind, awakening that unconditional love that is inside of you that allows for self-care, that allows for connection, that allows for wisdom, guidance. Breathe in awareness, exhale distraction. Make space to practice being very present, connecting to that cradle of joy that supports us through challenging times. Breathe in, breathe out. So on this day of celebrating independence, Let this practice of presence be the anchor of this independence. So independence doesn't need to include any resistance. And in fact, there are so many teachers who have come forth to show us that freedom starts with managing our mind. So freedom comes through perception in our mind. And freedom comes through connecting to that unconditional love, feeling love from the inside out from ourself. And then freedom comes with the choices we make with our actions and our reactions. And when we find all this freedom within our mind, our heart, and our body, we can bring that example to the world and inspire others. Let's practice that freedom for just a few moments with our breath, releasing tension, doing your own scan from the top of your head to the tips of your toes, from fingertip to fingertip, finding freedom from tension, freedom from stress, freedom from distraction. Choosing to be awake, to be alive, to be aware. Choosing to be with ourselves in this moment, on our mat, or in our chair. Staying present, anchoring with our breath. Melting, awakening. If you're seated in the chair, stay in your meditative state. Continue breathing, continue being present. If you're laying on the floor, bring movement to your fingers and your toes. Take a stretch. Walk your heels towards you. Roll onto one side. Accept something between your knees. Fetal pose, a pose we did early on in our mother's womb. A pose where we might connect with that memory deep inside us in the cells of our body, reminding us of our purpose, our passion, and our path. Humanness is complicated. I keep reminding myself of that. Those complications are opportunities for us to learn and grow. Great question. One I keep asking myself is, what is here for me right now? What can I gain from this experience? If you're on the floor, make your way to easy seated pose. If you're in the chair, start to open your eyes, flutter your eyelids. Add any little movements that support you. Sit up nice and tall. If you're seated on the mat, you might seat in lotus pose. You might seat in hero's pose to stretch those quads. You might be supported by something underneath your pelvis. Roll the shoulders back and down. Extend the arms out wide. Kiss those shoulder blades together and lift your heart, lift your gaze. Feel your heart open. Feel that essence come forth. That love bubble up for you, inside of you, within you. On your exhale, take your right hand over top, your left hand underneath. Give yourself a hug as you round your back, drop your chin, come into that cat pose, stretching across the upper back. And then inhale, open up wide. Take a big inhale, feel the heart open, the shoulders stretch. And then left hand over top, right hand underneath. Just give yourself a hug. Don't round down. Just use your hands. Squeeze yourself tight. Maybe even say, I love you to yourself and feel those words. So miraculous when they can land and we can feel that connection. And then slide those hands into prayer, touching the thumbs to the center of the head. Invite in what you need into your beliefs and into your thoughts. What would support you right now? And then thumbs to the lips. What do you need to invite in to your expressions and your perceptions? And then down to our heart space. Kiss the shoulder blades down and back. Lift the heart. What would you need to invite into your actions and your reactions? I have a lot of ideas for myself, and I hope you have a lot of ideas for you. Thank you so much for joining me for this special practice today. I hope to get some answers and some healing. Be back to our regular yoga classes soon, knowing that this is perfect for some reason. Namaste. I'll end this recording and want to hear from each of you on how that was.